Youngpreneurs Podcast, episode number 151 with your host, Victor Ahipenny. What's up, world? Another day, another podcast. And today we've got Amanda DeGrace, and she's coming all the way from Canada, and she is the founder of Little Lotus Yoga and also Biz Inspiration. So we're going to learn about how do you find a niche within an already crowded space. So she worked and started her business in the yoga space, and it's obviously a booming industry that a lot of people all over. So you're going to learn how do you differentiate yourself from a crowded market, and how do you make that successful to be able to build and scale it, as she has done all of that. There's a lot of amazing learnings in this episode, so make sure you grab a pen and paper. If you like this episode, make sure to subscribe on however you listen to your podcast, and if you're on iTunes, then please give us a rating and a review. I'd love to hear what you think of the show. As always, all our show notes are at passiveincomeyoung.com, where you can get all our previous episodes, show notes, as well as a 4-video series on how you can start your own business online for $0, and it's absolutely free to help you all get a kickstart. So grab a pen and paper. As I said, ton of value, and keep living life on your own terms. You're listening to the Youngpreneurs Podcast, the number one resource online for under 35-year-olds, where we chat twice a week to the most inspiring entrepreneurs in the world. We have it all. If you're looking for inspiration, guidance, or actionable tips to help you transition from that job into a business, or if you're ready to take that business to a whole new level, then this is the place to be. Get ready to live life on your own terms. Youngpreneurs, welcome to another episode of the Youngpreneurs Podcast. My name is Victor Ahipenny, and I'm so glad that you have decided to join us. You got a chance to join whoever you want or do whatever you want on any given day, and hopefully you'll be getting a lot of value out of myself and also my amazing guest today, Amanda DeGrace, and she is a serial entrepreneur. She's built a business. She's the founder of Little Lotus Yoga and also a business strategist. Welcome to the show, Amanda.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's my absolute pleasure. Now, I love to break down the barriers for other entrepreneurs and business owners out there, because a lot of us make those excuses, they make those mistakes, and we go, I can't do this because I'm not smart enough, or I haven't got enough money, or my parents weren't business owners, and all these stories that we tell ourselves. So I love to start off by getting a bit of a picture of what growing up was like for you, and were there entrepreneurial influences all around you? Was it all handed on a platter? And how was entrepreneurship always on your radar?
Yeah, so I grew up, I was a family of 5. I'm the oldest of 3 children in a really, really small town. So not a lot of things to do or opportunities, but I had a lot of entrepreneurial people around me. So my father always ran his own business. His sister, my aunt, ran her own business. My grandmother had her own business. So I had a lot of different entrepreneurial influences. But within that, I saw a lot of them really struggling. My father, in particular, struggling to make the living he deserved and wanted to be making. And he would often blame that and say, you have to work 15 hours a day in order to make the living you want. And it's always going to be a struggle, and you're always going to be chasing people for money. And so I grew up with that mindset of, okay, I want to be an entrepreneur because I like the flexibility that I'm seeing people have with the entrepreneurial lifestyle. But I have to be ready because it's going to be an uphill climb, nonstop, working 24/7 around the clock. And I may not be really well financially awarded. And, so I grew up, I would say, middle class, but there were a lot of struggles and financial issues that I had within the entrepreneurial lifestyle within my family and my father. And so when I was 16, I started my own business. I knew it was something I wanted to do, and I hit the ground running. And I think because of the influences I had in my life, and I had seen the different paths they had taken, I had the opportunity to not only learn what I wanted to do, but to watch and see what wasn't working for them, and figure out for myself, how am I going to do this differently? How am I going to recreate the wheel? Because I don't want to be getting up at 5 a.m. in the morning and working until 10 p.m. that night and not making the money that I deserve to be making. I wanted flexibility. I wanted the opportunity to take more time off than I would get in a typical 9 to 5 job. And I think that's why most of us go into business and want to be an entrepreneur is we don't want to be stuck into that 9 to 5 of having to show up at a certain time, only getting a certain number of breaks, only getting a certain number of weeks of vacation each year. We want to have that flexibility. But what I saw happening around me growing up is the entrepreneurs around me weren't giving themselves, they weren't setting their business up in a way so they could have that flexibility. And at the end of the day, for most of them, I think they probably thought, well, I should have just been in a 9 to 5. I probably would have got paid more and worked less hours.
What was your 16-year business when you were 16?
So when I was 16, I took over running day camps and our swim program for our small town. The next little town that was next to it hired me on as well. So I was 16 going, in high school full time, but working 20, 30, 40 hours a week running these large swim programs and day camps for these towns. And from there, then I got into the fitness field. And so I started teaching fitness classes at a lot of the recreation centers I was involved in. I then moved to Ottawa, Canada, where I am now. It's an hour away from where I grew up. And so when I moved to the city to go to university, I was setting up my business there, but on the weekends I would travel back home to continue running my business that I had set up in those towns as well. And I continued that well through university. And then my focus slowly started to change into the yoga field. And that's really when I created my business, Little Lotus Yoga. I was 22 when I created that stream within my business. And, for me, it was a passion. It's still a passion, but it started off of, I really like this. I'm going to, teach some classes and see how it goes. I really hit a fantastic niche market because no one else in the city was teaching yoga to preschoolers at the time. There were people who were teaching yoga to older children and teens, and there was lots of yoga teachers for adults, but no one had niched out into the market of preschoolers. They were really scared of, how are you going to do this? How are you going to make it work? And I found my niche and I grew it across the city. And as those preschoolers got older, we started to add classes for older children. And then the parents started to say, what about classes for us? And so we started to create different revenue opportunities within our company that really better serviced our clientele and was able to expand our reach with people we wanted to reach within our direct area of where I'm located. When I had my first baby 7 years ago, I realized really quickly I had built my entire business around me. So if I wasn't able to be there servicing my clients, there was no income coming into my business. And as I was becoming a mother, I knew that I didn't want to be putting my child in daycare every single day and going out to work. The whole reason of entrepreneurship, coming back to it again, is I wanted the flexibility. I wanted potential to make more money. I wanted to have more holidays. I wanted more flexibility. And so, it really came to this big awakening for me when I had my first child. If I've built this business around me and that's not going to give me the flexibility I want, continuing through my life in the industry I was in. So I started to expand my team and hire other people on to teach. And with doing so and expanding, I was able to bring in more revenue because I was able to offer more classes. I was able to service more people. And it was also really helping in expanding our brand and creating more brand awareness and recognition. And then people started to ask us, I want to teach. How do I teach yoga? Teach me how to teach. So we created our teacher training programs out of that demand. And we're now offering our teacher training programs all across Canada.
That's all super amazing. I want to delve into when you first started, when you were the business before you were, when you were basically self-employed to prior to creating a business, what did your lead generation look like? Like, how were you getting clients in the door, and how were you continually or aiming to continue to grow versus now? What does your lead generation look like?
I was networking like crazy, working my butt off all day long, getting out there because I was the only face of the business at that time. And people wanted to see me. As you know, people want to buy from people they like, know, and trust. And if they don't know you, they don't have an opportunity to really begin to like you, and they're not ready to then purchase and buy from you. So I spent a lot of time in our community networking, and my target audience for a lot of times was kids, but the people who are buying my product are the parents. So I needed to be networking with the people who are actually handing over the cash to buy my product. And so it was a lot of volunteering. It was a lot of getting out there and being at community events and sponsoring events and being other places and showing up where my target audience was. From there, you begin to get burnt out. You can only do so many marketing of and networking and being in public places and being at events before there's no more hours in the day. And so I started to do a lot of research on creating content and what that looks like and how I could create and curate content to be able to reach my target audience online. I think, I feel I really let down a lot of people say, oh, Twitter's dead. And Twitter is still so close to my heart because I started and was on Twitter when it just began. And that really helped me grow my reach because Twitter 6, 7, 8 years ago, everyone was on Twitter and everyone was having conversations on Twitter and connecting. And so I started showing up a lot more online, but still creating valuable relationships. We still have that aspect in my business because I think it's so important that face to face and those, we think too of social media, we're just pushing out information, but we still need to have the social in social media. And so we need to show up and create those conversations. Yes, we now have, our freebies and our opt-ins and ways to capture people's email addresses and get them into our funnel that way, but we still do a lot of face to face as well.
And when you were deciding to actually turn your business into a business, by that I mean, something that's scalable and leverageable, what were the biggest shifts in what you had to do as a business owner to get that to happen?
The first was mindset because I had grown up in a family of entrepreneurs where my dad never thought big. It was you or your business and you have to work really hard. And if you want to make more money, you physically need to go out and work harder. And so it was a big mindset shift for me of, you know what, I don't have to work more hours in the day in order to make more money for my business and to scale it to be larger and to better sustain the lifestyle that myself and my family wanted to have. And so it was a big mindset shift for me. The second was the ability to start to outsource and to let go, not being able to hands hold and to really oversee every small, teeny, tiny detail. So I had to find people who I could really trust to begin to outsource tasks to that were taking up too much of my time, that weren't giving me a great return for my investment. And so it started really small. I hired a virtual assistant and it was just on a by project basis. And it was really hard paying that virtual assistant for the first little while. I felt like I was giving money away when I could be keeping that money and doing it on my own. But when I started to outsource slowly, I quickly understood that, me doing my web updates that I would procrastinate and take days to do, I could outsource and pay someone 2 hours to do, and I could be doing something in my business that was a bigger money maker for myself. So I think the mindset and the understanding that, we need to outsource the things that aren't our strengths, that we're not great at, find someone else who can help you in your business, who can do those things for you, so you as the business owner can really focus on how you're going to grow and work within your strengths.
And that's what's super important, realizing where your pay grade is. And I mean, it's not always applicable. Like, yeah, there's times where you're going to be an entrepreneur or a business owner and you got to do stuff below your pay grade because the money's legitimately just not there. But I mean, the more that you can stop doing the stuff that is either menial, not in a bad way, but like menial and not business development is huge for scalability, and you've only got so much time. So yeah, do what you're best at and get other people to do what they're best at.
Exactly.
So to kind of round up on this business, 2 years time, fast forward, where is it? What's it doing?
2 years time, you're going to see Little Lotus locations all across Canada. We're going to be moving into the States with all of our teacher training programs, and we're going to have a much larger online presence where people are going to be able to purchase classes but do it virtually with us online. So if they're not in one of the direct catchment areas where we're offering classes, we're still going to be able to service and work with them.
Yeah, nice. What does your day look like at the moment? Like, is it? I know you're obviously doing other things as well. So, what does a if you don't have a normal day, what does a week look like for you?
Yeah, so I have three little kids, ages 2, 5, and 6, almost 7. So my day starts with getting them off to school, breakfast, laundry, all those things that young families and parents are doing. Once they're off, I have about 9:30 to 2 p.m. every day where I fit in all of my admin and seeing my clients. So some days it's just sitting down on my computer and it's pounding out new content and working on our sales funnels and creating email newsletters. Other days I'm out actually teaching and interacting with clients, or I'm meeting with my team members to help them with their class planning and really to help them up level their skills as a teacher.
Cool. So with your business strategy side of things, is it to help the people who are working for you or working with you, or is it other business owners as well?
So some of my team members have signed on for some business coaching to help grow themselves. It's mostly other business in the wellness field. So I focus strictly on other wellness professionals. So that could be yoga teachers, personal trainers, massage therapists, doulas, chiropractors, those who are in the field of helping others. And it kind of all grew organically for me, building my business over the years, and people see how my business has grown and how I've taken my business to the next level continually on my own. Getting a lot of questions of how did you do it? I want to learn from you. It's really hard when you're seeing so many other business owners struggling to make a go of what it is they're passionate about, and you see them making the same mistakes over and over and over again because they don't have the resources or the knowledge. Sometimes it's just the determination and the motivation to make it work. We see a lot of shiny things, especially online, of I made $5,000 today and I made $10,000 and I did nothing. And, you're not really seeing what's happening in the back end of the business and all the work they've put in to do that. And so I do one-on-one, small group, and mastermind training with wellness professionals who really want to figure out what's going on in their business and how to really create a solid business with a solid foundation so they are able to grow it in a way they want to grow their business.
And so you're saying that there's fundamental flaws that you see a lot of these. I mean, I'm guessing a lot of them are brick and mortar businesses more than in the online space, and whether they enter the online space, then cool. But what are some of those fundamental errors that you see a lot of small business owners doing?
So a big thing I hear is, I'm not getting the clients. And
Yeah.
the reason they're not getting clients is because the clients don't know they even exist.
Mm.
So they don't have that presence, whether it's online or in the community. Content creation is huge. If you are not creating content and people don't have the opportunity to build a relationship with you that way, they're never going to buy. They want to be able to trust you and know you and like you before they're ready to purchase and work from you. Especially in the wellness field, a lot of times, if you're working with a doula, a massage therapist, chiropractor. It's in a very personal space for you. Usually you're going there because there's something personally going on with your body, your mind, in your life, and you want someone to help you. And so you need to have that certain comfort level. It's not like I'm going into a coffee shop and I'm buying a coffee and I may never see that person again. So I think they really need to focus on how they can create awareness of what they're doing. Another huge thing I see a problem with is cash flow. Business owners do not understand their finances and their numbers. All they look at a lot of times when they're struggling is they're looking at the number in their bank account. The number in their bank account doesn't necessarily tell them or paint the big picture of, okay, what is that number going to be at the end of the month when my bills come in and I have bills to pay? So cash flow is the other really big thing I see a lot of entrepreneurs and small business owners struggling with. And once they get the financial systems in place and start to understand it, and they start to understand their cash flow and how that works, they begin to have a lot more success in their business.
Yeah, I think what can be measured, what can be managed is the saying, and it's very true in that sense that if you don't know how much money you've actually got to spend that month, it's you can't put it into online marketing, or you can't put it into newspaper or radio, or whatever that happens to be the medium that you decide to choose. But you just can't do that. You can't decide if you're going to hire another staff member. And I guess giving people, giving people that that structure around their business and going, okay, I know how to get new clients in. All right, that takes away that stress and anxiety of bringing another staff member on, because now I know I can bring them on, and now I know my numbers, which means that if I get 3 staff members, I can slide out. It's not going to affect my income, and then I can focus on creating the actual clinic or the health practice that I really wanted to do when I first started off with all these high ambitions on why everyone else in the industry was average and mine was going to be better. But it often doesn't turn out like that when they've got 60, 70 people coming into them a week and they haven't got any time to do it. So a very,
Yeah.
very, very, very crucial skill. And I mean, I think so many. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's online or offline business, but particularly a lot of small local businesses, um, they they're just in that traditional mindset of which the traditional mindset doesn't mean it's right. Like generally, it means it's not right. If everybody kind of thinks that you're open and you bide your time and word of mouth will fill you up and then you can grow and then happy days. Like there's a lot more to learn in that. But as soon as you learn that stuff, you're ahead of 95% of your competition. Well, they're not even your competition, just people in the same industry as you, because
Exactly.
if you know how to do lead gen online to fill up your brick and mortar business, then it's just turn the tap on when you want your clients and turn it off when you're full, and build up from there. So it's pretty cool. I just want to delve into a last couple of questions, just more about you. What would you say your best and or worst habit for productivity are? Like what or not even productivity, but for your business, what do you find your best habit is, and one habit that you feel maybe sometimes stymies you or slows you down?
I am hyper organized. I am a color coder, category planner. It is, I'm programmed to write down minute to minute. But I think on the flip side, sometimes where that holds me back personally is I'm able to accomplish a lot in my business. So then I want to do more. And then I want to do more. And it's hard sometimes for me to pull back and to realize, I had a really successful, productive day or week or month. Time for vacation now. It's time for relaxation. It's time to do something to fill my own cup up before I go back out to help others again.
Mm, that's super important. And what's that bad habit that you wish you could kick, or not even bad habit, but maybe it might be a weakness that you wish was stronger within your business toolkit?
I still have a challenge of giving my team members tasks and knowing, because I know they're fully capable, but I still like to have my hand in there a little bit. So I'm sure there's days where they think like, we have it, we understand it, we're doing the task, even better than you could do it yourself. Get your hands out of the pot and go focus on your own tasks. But I like to kind of have my hand in everyone else's pots and micromanage a little bit more than needed.
Yeah. And I mean, it's particularly when you're the hyper organized person, it's that, oh my God, are they, are they crossing every T and dotting every I?
Exactly.
Yeah, I could imagine. I'm literally the polar opposite. That hyper organization stresses me out, and I don't really get stressed out. I'm like, oh my God, like I can have organized chaos. So I'm all right at all. My filing system sits in my brain, which isn't necessarily a good thing, but at least from a business building side of things, you know who you need to bring on. Like, yeah, you need to bring. Well, personally, I need to bring on somebody who
Exactly.
can put everything into one place. But final question: what's a book or resource that's had a big influence on you? Doesn't have to be business, just a book that you think other people out there should have a look at and gain, and what will they gain out of it?
Yeah, so I always recommend to people the book Broken Open by Elizabeth Lesser, and it really talks about the struggles that people can have in their lives and how they've overcome that. Because I think no matter our upbringing, there's stuff that happens, there's crap that happens in our life, and sometimes it can bring us down, and we can think, we think, how are we ever going to get out of that, or how am I ever going to turn my life or my business around to get back to where I want to be? And so it's a fantastic resource. And then there's so many great resources out there on the web and so many fantastic books. I think sometimes as entrepreneurs we spend so much time trying to grab for the next big great thing, the next perfect piece of content that we want to read. And really, when we take time to read those books and resources and follow other amazing leaders, it's important as a business owner that we're taking time to absorb it and to implement it into our business, because we can only read so much, but if we're not turning around and implementing it, you're not going to see the impact in your business. For those looking to follow someone online, Lisa Larder is a fantastic woman. She's based out of Canada. She lives part-time of the year into the United States, and she really has a solid business knowledge for retail, bricks and mortars, and online, and she shares fantastic content and resources. So I always recommend people check her out. She has a book, fantastic website as well. And connect with her, and she shares great tips.
Awesome. Well, I'll be sure to add all of that in the show notes at passiveincomeyoung.com. Finally, if people want to find out more about you and what you do, where can they go and what can they do?
Yeah, so they can connect with me online. My website is littlelotusyoga.ca. If you're interested in business coaching or want to read some of my content over there, DeGrace, which is my last name, DeGrace, energetics.com.
Awesome. Well, we'll link, as I said, we'll link all of that at the show notes at passiveincomeyoung.com. Look, Amanda, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on, and just want to welcome you to the Youngpreneurs family. It's been as I said, absolute ball, but I'd love to keep in contact and watch your businesses flourish and grow over the coming years, months and years.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to the Youngpreneurs podcast. This was proudly brought to you by the Podcast Institute, the #1 training resource to take your business from chasing leads to leads chasing you, and from an absolute amateur to a full-blown authority. If you're looking to take your business to the next level, then a podcast is the obvious answer. You can get national and global exposure in a very fast time, and it's just exactly what I've done with this podcast. So if you want to find out more, get a checklist on how you can get started for under $60, and to find out more through a small training video that I've prepared for you all, then please check out passiveincomeyoung.com/podcast training.